What's up, guys? Welcome back to Principles Fat Loss for Life. We're still talking about principle number one. Everything is just math because we really need to make sure we understand that it is math and how to see it at that perspective. So, another principle that we're going to touch on again today, think in bets. What does that mean? Choose things that have the highest probability of success in the short term that also increase your odds of success in the long term. So, we want things that not only are the best choice for the short term victory, but will also increase the odds that we will be successful in the future. We want those rates to go up. All right. So, what we're going to do today is look at health and fat loss by the numbers. I'm going to give you a bunch of different numbers and things to consider, hopefully, clarify a perspective. So, one thing to note, it's very important. Exercise is an inefficient and ineffective method for weight loss and sustainability. Prioritizing exercise and or only focusing on exercise is your way to burn fat and then keep it off long term just doesn't work. No diet or exercise method is superior when it comes to the prevention of or the correction of any metabolic diseases. And what do we mean by methods? We mean things like keto, vegan, paleo, or Weight Watchers. When it comes to exercise, CrossFit, cardio, HIIT training, no individual method is superior than any other method when it comes to the correction of metabolic diseases. Weight loss, fat loss, improvement to metabolic diseases are all dominated by these factors. One, weight loss. Two, increase in protein. So most of the improvements that you get in metabolic diseases from trying these different diets that you do, whether it be, keto, vegan, paleo, Weight Watchers, whatever, most of the health benefits that you're getting from those are coming from the fact that you lost weight, not from the unique aspect of the diet. Now, if you start doing a diet like that and you get an improvement in numbers, typically, if you get an improvement in some biomarkers but without the weight loss, typically that's going to be equated by or accounted for by the increase in total protein and the ratio of total protein in your diet. When you combine the two, weight loss and an increase in protein, that's where you're going to account for basically every single positive outcome that you're getting from any dietary method that you're choosing. Just simply increasing your protein and losing weight. That's where all the improvements in metabolic health come from, and metabolic diseases. Then, when it comes to all of those same metabolic diseases and weight loss and fat loss, increases in strength, increases in total activity level, which includes non-exercise activity thermogenesis, our NEAT, and the MET is metabolic equivalent. So steps is a wonderful way to use this as a measure. And then total muscle mass, so building muscle mass. These five things will dominate everything: weight loss, fat loss, and improvements in metabolic diseases. Success rates of all methods are shockingly low, meaning success rates if people who follow keto, people who are vegan, people who are paleo, people who follow Weight Watchers, people who do CrossFit, HIIT training, cardio. Success rates of all individual methods are shockingly low. We're talking 2% or less if we're saying a 5% total weight loss. Success rates when you prioritize each of the five variables increases per variable. So when I prioritize increasing total protein and losing weight, independent of all the other variables, success rates are going to increase. When I prioritize getting stronger, success rates increase. When I prioritize just total metabolic equivalent or NEAT, getting steps, and improving muscle mass, success rates increase. When you combine all of them, success rates continue to rise. Success rates do not improve when additional variables are added into consideration. So if I'm focusing on these things, but I'm also watching my carbs, I'm also being restrictive of whatever type of food, I'm also making sure I run 3 extra hours per day. Any of those additional variables that are thrown into this do not improve the success rates. Meaning, if I just did these five things, my probability of success is X. When I add cardio, it doesn't increase X at all. There's no change. Most often, it's actually a decrease. Your odds of success start to come down when you add those additional variables into the mix. Fast weight loss has a lower success rate than slow rate weight loss. That's over the short and the long term. And studies have shown that fast weight loss results in significantly greater losses in lean mass. So there's a 2007 study that I'll link and send you guys as one example, but there's a lot of examples of this. So they split people into two groups, and both groups lost 5% of their total mass. Group A lost 5% in 5 weeks, which was the fast group. Group B lost 5% in 15 weeks. That's the slow group. The fast group lost an average from the total group, which was 5%, 2.5 pounds. The slow group lost an average of 4.4 pounds. So the fast group lost more total mass overall. The fast group lost 1.8 pounds of fat and 3.3 pounds of lean mass. The slow group lost 3.3 pounds of fat and 1.1 pound of lean mass. So the slow group lost twice as much fat mass as the fast group and lost only a third of the lean mass. And losing it at a slower rate was much easier for them to manage in their life and their hunger and everything. So in the end, even though it's about 3/4 of a pound difference, the fast group lost 3/4 of a pound extra on the scale. They lost significantly less fat mass and significantly more lean mass and had a much harder time doing it, which means the aesthetic that you get and the health improvements that you get in the end are not nearly what you think they would be when you tried to lose it faster. Now, some additional numbers when it comes to Rona, is all I'll say, so this doesn't get filtered out. The probability of getting the infection, the severity of the illness, the length of stay in the hospital if you're hospitalized, and the probability of death from the disease all decreased significantly per factor, which means multiple factors continue to improve outcomes when these factors were measured. Waist circumference, muscle mass, exercise volume, and absolute strength. And strength was the most dominating factor, with trends showing that the length of stay continued to decrease as strength metrics continued to rise, which meant the strongest people had the shortest lengths of stay. And that was independent of all other variables. So it was consistently having an impact no matter what variables were introduced. Meaning, if you strength train 3 times per week, walk 10,000 steps per day, and address your fat metabolism, the probability of negative effects from Rona 19 drop to almost absolute zero. Things like vitamin D, C, E, essential fatty acids, and magnesium, selenium, iodine, and zinc, they also improve outcomes. They're very important things. But this whole perspective here of how much it improves your health and your immune system overall are extreme and dramatic. Now, these things are super significant with everything, because this is not just true of the Rona, it's true of basically every disease that you can think of. All outcomes are going to improve when you account for the same variables across the board. At this point in this pandemic, there have been 28 million assumed and tested positive cases in the United States. 28 million. In that same time frame, there's been 152 million new cases of obesity, 182 million new cases of insulin resistance, and 102 million new cases of hypertension. And of the 28 million cases of Rona, of those that were hospitalized because of it and then ultimately died, 42% of them were considered obese. Now, you can be overweight with a smaller waist circumference and not be all the way in the obesity category. So the assumption is that those that were overweight is probably 80%, obesity being 42% of those. And then almost 70% of those were hypertensive. That's a big deal because those things will be improved dramatically from the same variables that we've been talking about for everything else. Taking a broad look at all of the data collected on disease, current, past diseases, weight loss, fat loss, long-term health outcomes, some very, very, very clear and obvious things stand out. If you do these following things, your odds of success will increase in the short term and continue to increase the longer you follow the plan, which means your odds of success today get better tomorrow and better the next day and better the next day, as long as you do the following things. Get all your nutrients each day, vitamins, minerals, whatever you need. You can do it from taking supplements, multivitamins. You can get it from your diet, doesn't matter. Consume a lot of low density foods, which is lots of fruits and vegetables mostly. Measure your protein intake and eat enough. Strength train 3 times per week, specifically to build muscle and get stronger. Walk 10,000 steps per day, get enough sleep, and then aim to lose a quarter to a half pound per week only. Nothing faster than that. If you focus on those variables first until each one of them is completely solidified into your lifestyle systems, that may be all you need to do to be successful. But you certainly shouldn't look beyond it until those things are completely solidified. Do not do any of the following things. Use exercise as a method to accelerate weight loss. As we already talked about, that's only going to decrease your odds of success and wreck you. Do not subscribe to a diet that you can't do for the rest of your life. Do not use exercise as a punishment for eating. Do not demonize any particular food groups. Do not exercise without the intent of building strength and muscle mass. If you're just exercising to burn calories and move around and feel tired, that's a problem. It's not going to work. Don't exercise without measuring your volume and your progress of all the lifts and training that you're doing. Don't do high intensity exercise 4 or more times per week. Don't go to CrossFit and boot camp and HIIT class and aerobics class every single day. It's a terrible strategy. More is not better. Do not lose weight at a rate faster than 1% of your total body weight per week. So if you're 300 pounds, you can lose 3 pounds per week as a maximum. Is it possible to lose it at a faster rate, especially if you are in a high risk category? Absolutely, and there's trade-offs. But the lower, the less you weigh, the slower the rate should be. And accelerating that rate does not end in a positive outcome, almost ever. Do not diet consistently without predetermined timelines and breaks. That means you don't diet from now until your weight loss goal. You diet for a predetermined amount of time, say 4, 8, 12 weeks, and then a predetermined break where you're not going to be in a restrictive diet for a period of time. And we'll circle back to this a lot when we're going over all these principles, but that's significant. Do not train hard consistently without predetermined timelines and breaks. So don't train every single day as hard as you can indefinitely. You should have a predetermined amount of time, phases of training that stack on each other, and then breaks to let your body recover. Dieting consistently all the time and training hard consistently all the time, as much as they sound cool, they simply just don't produce a victory in the end. So why do that? Each of the do not do list will decrease your odds of success in the short term and continue decreasing over time. So adding any one of these things into your plan decreases your odds of short-term success, no matter what you think, no matter how hard and how much willpower you have, it decreases your odds of success. But the longer you keep these things in your system, the more it has a negative effect on your probability of success over time. So let's say it's 50-50 right now, and I start doing one of these things. Today it's 50-50. Tomorrow, my odds of success drop to 49. If I do it again, they drop to 48. If I do it again, they drop to 47. And the probability of success continues to drop the longer I'm doing these things. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So right now, let's circle back all the way to the beginning so we can bring this to the end. You want to choose things that have the highest probability of success in the short term that also increase your odds of success in the long term. All of the things on the do not do list decrease your odds of success over time. So don't choose those. Choose the things that increase your odds of success over time, which are the things that we already went over. So if we think of everything as math and it's just numbers, and you're thinking of things as odds and bets, where are you going to place your money for these bets to get the best return? If it's just a math equation, it's just numbers, you don't have any emotional attachment to any of this system because it's just numbers and math. Separate yourself, separate your identity. Just look at it as a sheet of numbers. And you have your money. Where are you going to place it based on the odds of success? That's how we want to look at these things. And if you choose the things that increase your odds of success over time, meaning you're going to get a $1 payout today, but $10 payout next month and a $100 payout the next month because your odds of success continue to increase, that would be where you would put all of your money. When you take that perspective, the decision making and how you build your systems becomes very clear and very obvious. And then you would stop doing things, hopefully, that decrease your odds of success because you're looking at the fact that they literally take away from your math equation. They don't enhance it, they don't support it, they don't accelerate it, they just take away from it. All the things on the do not do list take away from it. This should hopefully create a lot of questions for you guys to ask about specifics involved relative to you. So hopefully you do that, and then we'll expand on some more of this or add in the new principle next week. Do the work.